Hello. Good to see you one way. Hello, Christian. Hello, Dion. Guys, how you going?
Hello, Josh. Hello, Christian.
Hello, Dion. Hello, Josh.
Hello to all you Patchworkers out there. Thanks for joining us tonight. We've got a jam-packed show in store for you. Just a quick reminder as well, if you are watching, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps us out. No, but seriously, it's just so you get the notifications, all that kind of stuff.
Josh, why did you laugh then? I felt like that's how you would be if you had your own show and you were just trying to do 3 different parts. So make sure you subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
So Christian, I've also gone with a beanie today, and well aware that you brought this idea. I reckon I've got probably a better beanie than yours.
Are you trying to compete?
Oh, because what do you mean? It's a competition. This is Patchwork, the competition.
Okay. During the week, Dion, I don't think you were privy to this, so I thought I'd raise it now before we crack into the show. But Josh and I engaged with someone who wrote to us on Instagram who was saying that they were in the running for a competition to win a lifetime supply or a year's supply of Tic Tacs.
Mm-hmm.
And the question that was posed was, what is considered a year's supply of Tic Tacs?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's also a really bad prize as well when you think about it. I can't think of something like, what else would you want less than a life supply of Tic Tacs?
You know what?
A lifetime supply of empty Tic Tac cases.
But I was just thinking, right, if my actual consumption of Tic Tacs as an adult, if I won that as a yearly prize, I would have like -2 Tic Tacs every year.
Yeah. Actually, what's the one fact you know about Tic Tacs?
I don't think anyone knows any. That's not a common thing.
You know what, Josh?
The dispenser?
No. Oh, what's with the dispenser?
You know, it's got... They were talking about Tic Tacs. You flick it open. You're meant to flick it upside down, and they come out a single one on the little bit that pops out.
Now, I'm not going to trust a piece of engineering that's literally like $1 of plastic.
Yeah,
$1. That's heaps of plastic, mate.
No,
$1 is a lot.
Yeah. How much are Tic Tacs these days?
No idea. A year will cost you $50.
The one fact that I know about Tic Tacs is that each of them are 2 calories, and I don't know what that means.
You don't know what a calorie is?
No, I don't know what a calorie is.
I agree. I've got no idea.
Calories, hectares, acres, no idea.
Amazing. Do you think they're all the same?
I think.
You put on weight if you consume too many hectares.
Or, yeah.
How tall are you, Christian?
Oh, just a couple of acres. I'm a couple of acres wide.
So I think my interpretation of a year's supply of Tic Tacs, I thought any kind of year supply prize, you've got to break it down by month or by week. So I felt as an ordinary, and I thought you should approach it with a reasonable person test. I think a reasonable ordinary person would probably, a week, you'd get through 1 pack of Tic Tacs. So I think you're looking at 52 packets of Tic Tacs for a year's supply of Tic Tacs.
And I disagree. I think that if you are awarded a year's supply of Tic Tacs, that means you get to dictate what makes up a year's supply of Tic Tacs for you within reason. Obviously, you can't say, give me every Tic Tac you've made in the last couple of weeks.
It's an interesting one, because if you get something really unhealthy, like a year's supply of pizza, like from a year's supply of burgers, I don't want that. That's a terrible idea.
Use pizza, because I remember seeing ages ago, there was like a Domino's competition, and it was a year's supply of pizza, and I remember reading the fine print, and it was something like 2 a month. It's like, it's not a year's supply of pizza.
No, it's not.
Enough.
See, Josh, you should be able to say. So what's a year's supply? It has to be on your terms.
No, but it has to be very, very closely related to the product. And I feel like for pizza, if you're getting a year's supply of pizza, I reckon you've got to have like available 2 or 3 a week, I reckon.
Do you go by the serving size then, you reckon? So how
no
many
one
serving size?
Yeah. No one goes by serving sizes. Serving sizes are an absolute joke. One serving of shapes, art shapes, is like,
what is it?
You should get 7. You should get seven servings out of a box of shapes. I get 1.
You know what they should do? They should do sittings.
Dion, I reckon Josh has dropped that bone to pick with Shapes in every single comedic endeavor he's done across the board. For anyone, he's got a live show called Game Boys. They also live stream. He's mentioned it there.
Yeah, it's true. You're obsessed with them. You are absolutely obsessed with Shapes.
Well, how about this? Year supply of Shapes. What are you looking at?
So 7 people can have a box. So it's probably just 2 boxes, I reckon.
Christian?
A year supply of Shapes. I'd say for me, 365 packets will suit me.
Oh, interesting. We've got some interesting on the YouTube live stream just before we crack into the episode. Standard rule is 1 per week. Year supply of cinema tickets is 52. Year supply of Krispy Kreme donuts is 52. Packs of 4.
Yeah, I reckon they're weekly. I reckon they've got it sorted out. But enough about year supply. A year supply of Patchwork, how much is that worth? Bloody 30 odd, right?
I don't know, but let's find out.
Yes, let's start the show.
Have you considered whether you should say bless you to a stranger? If questions like this have crossed your mind, then you're in good company. Today we'll be taking a closer look at some of the daily habits and social conventions that make up the monotony of life. Let's observe the holes left by caterpillars in houseplants' leaves, but do nothing about it. Grab your knitting needles and a blanket, because it's time for 3 old friends to sit around and sew a new patch of their quilt of friendship. So join me, Dion, in my bedroom with Christian.
Welcome to Patchwork.
And Josh.
Welcome to Patchwork.
We will be re-recording that for sure. So we could probably take a little bit of time at the start of this episode to say that what I did was I had my intro written down. I bashed my keyboard in the last 5 minutes and it was a complete mess. Oh, God. Have you considered whether you should say bless you to a stranger? If questions like this have crossed your mind, then you're in good company. Today we'll be taking a closer look at some of the daily habits and social conventions that make up the monotony of life. Let's observe the holes left by caterpillars in your houseplants, but do nothing about it. Grab your knitting needles and a blanket, because it's time for 3 old friends to sit around and sew a new patch of their quilted friendship. So join me, Dion, in my bedroom with Christian.
Welcome to Patchwork.
And Josh.
Welcome to Patchwork.
So before we get started, I was over at a friend's place the other night, and it started because my friend was telling me about a colleague who he doesn't like, because when he gets in an Uber with him, he sits in the front seat, and then what he does is he turns around and has to have conversations to him in the back seat. So he's in the front seat in the passenger seat, sits around, turns and has to chat with him. And everyone was agreeing. So there was about 5 people over at this house and everyone was agreeing. And I was like, what's the problem with that? And people were like, well, when you take an Uber with someone else, you both get in the back seat, right? I was like, nah, I just get in the front seat and the other person gets in the back seat. And most of the time with my girlfriend, like I'll get in the front seat and she'll just sit in the back seat.
With your girlfriend?
Yeah, sometimes. Recently, I've decided against it when it's a late night. But for me,
why does the time of day matter?
Hang on. For me, because partners need more care late at night. But that's a fact. That's an oh wow of the week. Partners need more. But for me, I really like making the driver comfortable, and I like engaging with the driver. I don't like ignoring the driver. I don't like pretending they're not there. Josh, I just got a bit of from you.
Okay, so that's fine in a solo arrangement. If you're there by yourself, absolutely jump in the front seat. If you're there with someone else, with one on a person, 100% in the back seat with your friend.
No, absolutely not, Josh. No way. You're going to be spending the entire night most likely with that person. Why not show a bit of respect to the person who's driving you to the destination for the 15 minutes you're in the car?
Great question.
How about I'm going to spend all the night with that friend, can't wait to catch up with them, so let's talk to a stranger who I don't know and have nothing in common with.
No, that's avoiding Christian's question. How do you thank the driver? Just by paying him? Do you even thank him or say hi when you go in the car?
Or her, Dion. Or her. It's a thank you. I'm not saying ignore them completely, but you don't need to force a conversation and make them feel comfortable. It's still a service. You're getting a service.
It's not about forcing the conversation. I feel like sitting in the front is this, maybe I'm playing into it. It's a uniquely Australian thing where it's this idea. It's kind of like, hey, camaraderie. Like once I sit in the front next to you and engage in a lighthearted conversation, you know that you can trust me.
Yeah, I know what happens. So if shit goes down, Christian, you're like, the driver's got my back.
Yeah, that's right.
I can pull the brake up for him and so we do one of those spin turns.
of course, sitting in the front seat's very different for men and women. Like a lot of women don't feel comfortable in the front seat of a taxi, or Uber or whatever, and that's completely understandable. But for me, in my privileged white man's position, I love sitting in the front seat. It's great. It's just I get to talk to the driver and sometimes you can find out. Sometimes you can have incredible conversations. I introduced a driver on the way to the airport to the concept of podcasts, and guess what podcast I chose to introduce him to? It's the only one. No, but it was really cool because he was a guy. He didn't speak much English, but he said that he really liked football, but he doesn't get to watch it. And I was like, what about a show? What about an on-demand radio station where you can listen to it at any time? He's like, yeah, what's that? So it was perfect.
I reckon he's gone back to his other driver friends afterwards and was like, yeah, I pretended to not know what a podcast was.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, he's probably responsible, and we're so thankful for all the people that rate us on Apple Podcasts, but he's probably responsible for maybe a few of the 1-star ratings that we've got on our podcast.
So my question to you two guys, though, what I don't understand, so you're just ditching your friend alone in the backseat. You're more worried about the driver who you're paying to give you a service than you are ditching your friend in the backseat.
Well, kind of, because I'll see my friend when I get out of the car, and also I have no problem with turning around and having a conversation with my friend. That's fine. It gives my neck a great workout.
No, I've got a great counterpoint to that. So you have no issue turning around to talk to your friend. So why do you have no issue leaning forward to talk to the driver?
That's a really good point. Because I guess it feels unnatural having the passenger seat free.
Dion, I can't have you arguing for me in this. Josh is picking holes everywhere.
Go, Christian, go.
It is ultimately, Josh, about the respect. By leaving that passenger seat empty, you're saying, I'm in your car, but I don't care about you.
No, you're not.
Yes, you are.
You're saying you're my driver and I'm paying you to drive me to a location. Yes, and that's a business relationship. It's very professional.
Every single time, I don't want to come to comparing Uber ratings, but every single time I get in the Uber, I do exactly the same thing. I'll sit in the front seat and I'll say, hey, thanks so much for giving me a lift. I really appreciate you letting me in your car.
No, you don't.
Every single time.
No, you don't. You didn't do that. No, I've been in Uber with you and you were very rude to the Uber driver. It's the first thing you said. You said, fuck you, and then you got in. I couldn't, you know what? I couldn't believe it.
You've turned on each other. I've won.
I kept pulling the handbrake up as well.
If only Christian brought his Patchwork persona into real life, it'd be so fun to hang out with him.
Okay, here's a question for you. If the three of us got into an Uber together, who's sitting at the front?
Oh,
I'm definitely in the back.
I will, because I don't want to talk to either of you. This is about the most I can tolerate.
And now it's time for Oh Wow of the Week.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Shaquille O'Neal, or Shaq as he's called, has hit almost 12,000 baskets in his career. Only one of them was a 3-pointer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Great.
So last week, I've got into the habit of going and ordering a coffee before we start work, because we're working from home now. So I go to the local cafe, and the person in front of me, respectfully 1.5 meters away, did order a takeaway English breakfast tea.
No, they didn't. Were they English, or were they breakfast, or were they
both, Dion? But as I saw the person walk away, I could see that there was a tea bag hanging off the side of the cup, and I was baffled that someone could spend their hard-earned on something that they could so easily do at home. And then I was thinking, will you guys ever order tea when you go to a cafe?
Well, just quickly, did you catch the brand on the tea bag?
It was a red label, so I'm going to assume it was a Twinings.
Oh my!
If it was just, I say Twinings, but sure.
I mean, everyone says Twinings.
Yeah,
that's all right, Josh. Let's derail this.
I think so. I think a takeaway tea is probably the worst order you could do.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing...
that's the worst order I've ever heard. That's all I wanted to say. That is shocking.
The only way you could get less is if it was just a Lipton. A standard Lipton for a takeaway.
Yeah,
shocking.
Or I've got this keep cup. Do you mind if I just get some hot water? I've got
That'd
no
be
tea.
$2.
Just some hot water, please.
But
So
that's
the
all
big-
it is, isn't it?
Well, the biggest thing about the drinks, right, is I think when I'm ordering something from, and let's say it's takeaway, there's got to be an element of skill to it. If I'm spending $4, upwards of $4, it's got to be something like you said, Christian, that I can't do at home. I can't make the kind of coffee they do at home. I can drop a tea bag in, easy peasy.
Yeah, but
I think the takeaway is a shocking choice for tea.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's bring it inside the cafe then. Are
Mm.
you ordering a tea when you're sitting down inside the cafe?
Do you know
1
what?
hour, 1 hour.
The tea
more.
has to impress me. It has to be something. It has to be an interesting tea. I'm not going to get an Earl Grey or an English breakfast. It's just too easy to make at home, and it might have to come in a pot. It might have to be loose leaf. Even though loose leaf is cheaper than tea bags, it's still more impressive.
Great point.
They do sink ships though.
So I completely agree with you, Dion, but I don't think it's sometimes. I think there's the thing, if I'm ordering tea from a cafe, there's a few things I definitely need. I definitely need a teapot, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I definitely need a milk on the side, so it's my choice for the milk.
Yeah.
In fact, I want as many tools as possible on the little tray that comes over.
It has to be a production.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
has to
really
be.
does. What
I
about
think-
honey, Josh? Is honey something that because you get that with a chai latte? What about a little jar of honey?
Look, not for me, but help yourself.
Well, that's the key. What I love about the tea is there are sometimes you can share it with others. Like if there's a honey there, give it to your friend who likes honey. But there's something very special about having this reserve of liquid that's very different to having a coffee. Coffee, bang, it's gone. Tea, you sit on. It's a sitting. It's a conversation starter.
Hey, Christian, do you have like a go-to when you go for breakfast? Like when you go for breakfast to a cafe, do you have a thing where you're like you're basically just scouring the menu, you're just looking for it? You're going, oh my god, where is this thing? And there are things that you just won't touch, like muesli, like Bircher muesli.
forget it.
That is ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Like, don't put that unless it's incredible. Don't
Unless
put
it's
that
in a
on a menu.
teapot.
Unless it's in a teapot, yeah, with a little dangler on it.
But hang on. So you guys see, I think I can draw the distinction here because I don't mind getting something that I can make at home because I kind of like to see how they do it because it means that I can incorporate it into my repertoire.
Yeah. Oh, that is an interesting point. That's a really interesting point. But there's nothing like if you get like tomato and smashed avocado, and it's literally just tomato and smashed avocado on toast. There's nothing interesting. When they don't do something interesting, it's that thing where you just know that it's just wrong place, wrong time. You're not going to return.
Who is ever ordering toast with spreads?
Yeah, that's
Who is
amazing.
spending $7 on
Then-
2 pieces of toast?
Then again, the best toast is in cafes. You know, sometimes that bread, I don't know, I've never seen
Get scrambled
thickness of
eggs,
bread.
throw the eggs out.
Yeah.
You're still getting 2 slices.
But you know that you can sometimes in cafes, you sometimes just get this unbelievable bread. I don't know where it's sourced from. I don't think it can be bought by consumers. It can only be bought by cafes. You know the style? It's like thick and it's got like beautiful sesame.
Backdoor
It's
bread.
toast. It's just gorgeous. Like it's like black. Yeah, it's like black market bread.
I really get frustrated at a cafe that decides to do toast with 1 spread. You get your choice of either Vegemite, peanut butter, or conserves. Just give me every spread you've got because I'm paying you for that luxury.
Do you know what I just realized? I reckon an alien that lands on Earth and lands in a cafe, they listen to a couple of episodes of Patchwork. They know about bread. They know spreads. We've talked about in a previous patch where you sit in a cafe. They know when you order a side, what you're getting. Remember when we taled about we ordered a mushroom and we literally got 1 mushroom?
I hate when people use that turn of phrase. Oh, when an alien lands on the planet, they'll think we're pretty weird.
Yeah,
the
they're
alien
already
will
here.
the alien will not understand what's happening around him or her or it or jeg.
The other thing I wanted to mention as well is that one thing I find incredibly frustrating when you go to a restaurant is when you have a menu where there's stuff on there and you're like, what does any of this mean? What does this mean? So what I've done, I've gotten our producer to pull up a menu and it's a menu from a restaurant and I've highlighted all the terms on there I've highlighted all the terms on there that I just don't understand. And Christian, you can tell it's an Italian restaurant, but what is Conza spice? All that stuff on the left, I don't get it. I just get spaghetti gnocchi.
Isn't it a type of spicy couch? Franco Conza spice.
Okay, just for those who are just listening, we've got a menu up. Adele's highlighted a lot of Italian words that I don't know. Some of them are names of the dishes, and some of them are ingredients in the dishes.
Actually, one of the reasons why I brought this up was obviously to show you how unfamiliar some of these terms are. So we live stream these on YouTube Live, so they're on Thursday nights. If you want to join us, would love to see you. But Christian, one of the reasons why, of course, I brought this up is because I want you to pronounce some of these, because it gets a lot of us off hearing you pronounce these Italian dishes. So could you just
Start from the top?
Yeah, just start from the top. Just go through the whole thing.
Okay. Arancino.
Oh, there you go.
Saffron rice. Passata and smoked scamorza.
Oh, isn't it great?
Molinciani. I'm probably going to stop there.
Yeah, no, that's
Trapanesi.
No, that was very useful.
And you know what I have no shame in, though? Or the people around me, and I think it was a sign of me being an adult. I have no shame in asking people, what's this thing? What's that?
Josh, do you ever ask people like, what's it like? Is it nice? Like the dish?
No. I mean, like the people I'm sitting with, I go, I don't know what that word is.
That has been, Dion, that has been a revolution to my life since meeting you.
Really?
Is that Dion will, when a wait staff comes over to him, he'll say, is this any good? Just be honest with me.
Yeah.
Which one should I order? I want either this one or this one. What's better?
Yeah. I like because their opinion is much like they know more than me. But then what about when they recommend a dish and you don't take it on? It's really tough because sometimes they'll recommend something and you go, you don't actually know what you're talking about. So I'm going to go with something else.
No, but I used to work at Fonda Mexican, and I always used to say, well, I like this and I like that. And a lot of people like this and a lot of people like that.
But you know what? I used to work for a phone company, and I used to recommend a particular model of phone because I really liked it. It was a Nokia E65. I reckon it might have been the best phone back in the day. But looking back, I'm like, oh, it's a bit of a line ball. I think it was just a preference of mine. So I don't know, Josh. Like,
but the staff are like you weren't eating the phones though, so you wouldn't know.
No.
So the staff though, they've no doubt eaten the meals, so they have a good understanding.
At least aliens now know when they go into a phone store, just no phone in the mouth.
Hey, Josh, you were also talking about the other day, there's something weird you were mentioning about olives, but I can't really remember what it was. What was that about?
So similarly, I ordered from the menu, and it was I've written it down what it was. It was the menu. It was an Italian-style braised lamb shank served with creamy mash. And I was like, great, I love lamb shanks, love a bit of mash, let's do it. I have never had a dish with more olives on it in my life.
Oh no, I stuffed up your punchline.
Most of the sauce was olives. And at no point in that description did it use the word olive.
Christian, what do you think of that?
What was the sauce described as?
Italian style. And I don't think Italian style means 90% olive, does it?
I don't know, Josh.
Is there something, Christian? Is there something that's Italian style that's just caked with olives?
Italy.
A birthday cake for an Italian.
Wait, I thought olives were I thought that was very Greek. I didn't think olives were
It's Mediterranean. It's Mediterranean.
Yeah, all right. Don't score me, mate.
You ask. Yeah, Josh, I kind of feel like if you're getting an Italian sauce, you kind of have to there's a gamut of things to expect, right?
Yeah, but I feel like when you're looking through a menu, particularly if it's something that my eyeballs could distinguish, it should be written down.
Yeah, it's true. No, Josh, you're right. If it's the dominant ingredient in something, it should be listed. The other thing that I really want to do, what about this? Thought about this before? A menu glossary. Imagine that.
Oh, great.
How good's that? Problem solved.
No, not problem solved.
Why?
Just get better at recognizing foods.
No, like speak 20 different languages for the restaurants I want to go to.
No, just know more than scrambled eggs toast.
I know more than that. It's not the titles, Christian. God,
what's this? It's an olive.
It's no. It's not
olives don't go with lamb.
It's not the titles. It's the ingredients that they list where you're like, they know you're going to have to ask that. It's almost like they want you to ask it, but I would hate that. I would hate that as a waiter being asked that question.
Well,
So
it's like-
annoying.
What's a scaramanga? It's a Bond villain. Like,
Yeah.
As it is about halfway through the patch, it's probably best to test out our microphones, guys. So let's just do a quick sound check. But for this patch, I think we should sound check using the names of Australian game show hosts. So I'll go first. Gretel Colleen enjoys Asian cuisine. Gretel Colleen enjoys Asian cuisine. I think you guys got that at the back.
Yeah, I can hear that fine. I'm just going to test my microphone as well.
Go for it, Dion.
James Sherry travels to work via ferry. James Sherry travels to work via ferry.
loud and clear, Dion.
Loud
Loud
and
and clear.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll just test mine as well. Baby John Burgess ran away to the circus. Baby John Burgess ran away to the circus.
Very good point from Julia. Gretel Colleen, a game show host. Yeah, good point. We'll make sure that Christian
Big
conforms
Brother's
a
the
little
game
better.
show.
That's not a game show. Game show needs a
Please.
wheel. Anyway,
Sorry. Wait a second. If you can win $1 million playing the reality show, I think it becomes a game show.
all right, we'll take that up with Julia offline. Fellas, I was at the traffic lights the other day, and it was pouring, and I had an
what?
umbrella in my hand. And this girl came up next to me, and it had been raining. It actually wasn't pouring. It was kind of like a light sort of mist, between a light mist and a pour. Anyway, just
So
setting it up.
rain.
Yeah, rain. And this girl came up beside me, and it'd been raining all morning. In fact, it'd be raining all night. So my thought was, hang on, she knew when she left this morning that it was raining, and that, and so I thought to myself, what are my responsibilities here? What do I need to do? Can I say to her, hey, do you want to come underneath my umbrella? Or do I just sort of leave her there? And I just think to myself, no, you need to learn your lesson. So I wanted to ask you guys, what do you do in that situation when you're in a good position, you've got an umbrella? Actually, I did invite her underneath, but she said no, which I found particularly interesting.
Yeah, see, that's why I would avoid the question, Dion, because I think that there's all good intentions on you, great, but it's what are they going to think if I ask this? And I think immediately it's going to be, this creep's asking me to get under his umbrella with him.
Yeah.
A blanket.
And I'm a bit wet. Anytime people are a bit wet, it just becomes a little bit creepier, doesn't it?
Well, my broad question is, Dion, was it the size of the umbrella is very important. So we've got anywhere from squash down travel to full golf.
Yeah.
Where are we?
Yeah, great. It was smack bang in the middle. So it was probably I would say a 9-hole game of golf. So
I'm just imagining like the city of Melbourne starts hiring people to hold really long umbrellas, and then they cross the lights with them so people can line up next to them.
But yeah, no, it was about in the middle. It was about mid-range. So she could have fit underneath. I guess the problem is that then where does my arm go, and what hand? No, Josh, what hand do you hold an umbrella with when you've got a partner? Like it's all very difficult.
So the biggest problem is
your middle hand.
Middle hand. That's what I thought he said as well. I didn't want to pick
just
him
straight
up
out of
on
your
it.
chest. You guys don't have that one. The biggest problem is, right, if someone's not right in with you, they're in the danger zone of water off umbrella down the sides.
Right,
so
and maybe worse off.
You've got to be fully in or completely out. That's somewhere in between. It's just no man's land.
This is kind of what I hate about the idea, Dion, is anytime I'm sharing an umbrella with someone, I do feel somewhat compelled to give them the lion's share of the cover. Yes. And then I find myself in the rain with my own umbrella. No, I think that if that's why I will err on the side of head down, bums up, umbrella over my head.
I think the difference is if you've got a really nice big golf umbrella, and why did golf get its own umbrella?
I've got no idea.
So if it's big enough that you can comfortably stand And it's like you're not squashing in next to the person, but you're both comfortably there. You don't necessarily need to be touching. And there's just enough canopy that you're covering both people. I think great. I think offer it. I think if it's a little personal one or that in between, they're happy. They're in the rain. They're just copping it sweet, right?
Yeah, I agree. But it's about the outlook of like, how do you view strangers as well? I never forget when I was overseas about 20 years ago, I went back to my mum's hometown in Slovakia, and we were a friend of hers picked her up from the airport, picked her up, and then we had a seat in the car free, and they just picked up someone along the way who flagged them down and needed a hand. I was like, I would love to live in a society like that. How good would that be if you're driving down the street, it's pouring and someone's waiting at a bus stop, but you know they're going the same way. It's kind of like, oh, can I just, I'll just give you a lift. I'll just give you a lift.
Do you
so
know
much
why,
better
Dion?
for you.
Because it's about, like, this is why I always get scared that I'll be the eyewitness to something because it's the time investment. Right, it's all well and good helping someone. Sorry, do you mind helping me find this place? Yeah, of course. You know that's got a short time allocation.
Yeah,
I'll get out my map. I'll show them where they're going. Done. Sorry, could you walk me to this? Do you want to get in the lift? I'll give you a lift to your place. Don't know how long that's going to last.
Yep, I think that is the key point. And I did this once. I don't think I've ever told anyone this really. It was a time when I was just like, I want to be the citizen that I want to be part of in the society that I live in, right? So I was waiting for a friend. I was picking something up on him. He was like, yeah, I'll be out in a few minutes. So I was waiting out the front, and this guy sort of knocked on my window. And it's like, he seemed quite drunk. He's like, hey, mate, you going around? I'm looking for this pub or whatever. I was like, oh, yeah. And I sort of politely chatted him for a bit. He's like, oh, can you take me to the pub? It was like 100 meters up the road. I was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I can. I absolutely can. I'm waiting for my friend. I'll get that, and I'll drop you up the road. So we did it, and we were driving. He was probably like in his 50s or something, and he started telling me, it was quite a sad story. He's like, oh, I'm living with my mum, and all this stuff's going on. I'm like, shit. And so we got to the end, and exactly to your point, Christian, he got out, and he was like, can I grab your number? And I was like, nah, mate, this was this was as far as I was going.
What did you say? What did you say?
Oh, nah, look, I've just given you a lift, mate. All good, all good. Go have a good night at the pub.
Well handled.
Josh, as Gina Andriani has raised in the chat, did he sit in the front or the back?
He was in the front of my little Barina, so it was great.
Great
Great
black
question.
Barina.
Yeah, little black Barina.
But Josh,
black Barina.
No. That's my joke. For anyone that doesn't know, I don't know, it was like patch 7 or 8. I made this killer joke. That one there, hey, Black Barina. But it was so far off mic that you couldn't hear it. And I think that Josh deliberately mixed it down so that you couldn't hear it in the episode. But go back and listen. We'll try to find it.
As I was saying, so this guy, and I was like, I just wanted to do a nice little thing. I didn't want to invest more time in this. I thought I'll help this guy out. It'll be fine, no worries. Anyway, so he did leave and it was all fine. But he was quite insistent about trying to get my number. I was like, no, I'm not going to hang out with him. I'm not going to be a friend or anything. I was just doing a little favor, and let's move on with our lives separately.
Isn't it funny that you could be in a group of strangers, and they're all strangers. You never met them before. That's what a stranger is.
And a good, close, personal stranger.
So Christian, just before you go on, just quickly, can I shout out to Bridget Jolly, who says that Ivan Milat ruined our chance of being a hitchhiking-friendly society. Thank you, Bridget, in the YouTube live chat. Sorry, Christian, you were about to say?
I've forgotten. What was I going to say?
We parted way. If you're in a group of strangers, and only strangers.
Yeah. So if you're in a group of strangers, it's funny how the moment that one stranger starts acting a little bit stranger than the rest, they all seem to be much closer to you than that one person.
Yeah. But you know what the amazing thing is, and this is a really lame point, but it's true. We are literally all strangers until we become friends. The only thing separates us from that is that strangers introduce strangers. It's usually friends introduce strangers.
I'm just not sure about.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, Dion.
But it's true. No, we are. We're all strangers, Christian. And let's hold hands.
But to Christian's point, when there's that common enemy, there's that common thing, right, that you can bond around. If it's something that happens, something that everyone sees, oh, there's a brick that fell off that roof, oh, that guy fell over, all of a sudden, you're all like in a part of something together, aren't you?
Yeah, you form a group.
That's true.
And we're against that person. Screw that person.
One thing that happens with me with strangers, though, there really is this separation point, and I wanted to kind of try and figure out where it is for you guys of there's a complete stranger here, and then it's like, oh, actually, no, now it's a human being. Because there's just like this distant thing and these people exist and they walk past and I don't even think twice about them.
Yeah.
And I think particularly now with COVID stuff, I've been way more focused and interested in strangers than I ever have been before. I take way more notice. I'm walking through a shopping center. I'm noticing way more people than I ever was before. But I'm sort of switched on already to a lot of that stuff. The thing that's been hell is queues. Waiting in a queue with the 1.5 meters, it is chaos. People can't handle it.
They're long queues. They're very long queues.
They get separated out. And so what happened to me at the supermarket the other day was strangers. And I thought, I think I've cut in here. I didn't really realize when I first slotted in, I didn't think I did. And then they were lining up on the dots or whatever. I was like, have I cut in here? So when my turn came, I turned to her and said, oh, are you right? Have I cut in? She's like, no, you go. I'm like, great. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I just want to, sometimes I'm switched on. I'm like, just do the things that you would appreciate if you were on the other side of it.
Yeah. And that's how a stranger becomes a friend. That's when good strangers become good friends.
But are you guys, what is the tipping point for you generally?
I think it's tough.
For me, sorry, Dion. For me, it's a smile, I think.
I was about to say the same thing, Christian. I was about to smile at you and say the same thing.
It's so disarming, isn't it? Like just the moment you see a smile, you go, okay, your friend, not foe.
Yeah, it's true.
Peaceful hands.
There aren't many bad people in human history that had beautiful smiles.
I think though, Dion, if it's a smile and no blinking, it's probably going to tip you over the edge.
Yeah,
so go down.
Oh, I was going to say, well, also for animals, like when you're trying to work out if an animal is friendly or not, or you've got like, with a cat? What have you got with a cat? With a dog, you got the wagging tail. With a cat, what have you got? A small mouth. Or a tail that sort of moves around. It's really hard to read, but we've got all these things on human beings that we can read, and yet we're so skeptical of meeting strangers, interacting with them.
For anyone who wants to know how to read a cat and a cat's affection towards you, look for slow blinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if you slow blink back towards your cat, it's showing affection towards them.
That's a pity. I wonder if my fast blinking will just hype them up.
Well, conversely, though, as opposed to the slowness, that I realized that the one thing where this all flips around is if I'm in a rush or if I'm in a hurry or something timely.
Yeah.
Then it just turns. And they're all the enemy, aren't they?
That's right. Like if you're waiting to get to a shop or something and you're trying to find a car park somewhere and there's an opportunity where you're going to slip in. Oh my God, you're going to slip in. Like, absolutely. Like you wouldn't have it any other way.
No, you're like, I've got 3 minutes to get into this store. I'm taking that spot. I don't care about you anymore.
Yeah. You're making an appraisal that in that one moment, you are more important than the other person. And you probably are. All right. Well, we're gonna break now. Thank you so much. Now, for everyone who's listening on YouTube Live or watching on YouTube Live, this is your chance to shine. Post your really goods. We're going to pick out 3 and we're going to read them after the break. So hang around for a few minutes. We're going to come back with really goods and also, of course, our patches. So see you in a few minutes from now.
Yep. Really goods in.
really, really good? You know what's really, really good? Really, really good. You know what's really, really good?
Look, we've always loved hearing your really goods, and because we're live streaming our episodes on YouTube Live, you can submit them at the time, and then you can see them on the big screen. So do you know what Katie Halliday thinks is really good? When you shake your duvet into the duvet cover and it fits the first time.
Yes,
really good. Really good.
And you know what Finn Niff thinks is really good? When you order last at a restaurant, but you get your meal first.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good.
And you know what Gina Andriani thinks is really good? When you look up a new recipe to cook and realize you already have all of the ingredients at home.
Oh, really good. Really good. Really good. You know what's really good? Oh, thank you so much for listening to Welcome to Patchwork for another week. We've really enjoyed your company. I should really say that a lot more during the episode. Thank you so much to our Patrons. We had a few join this week. We really appreciate you and the contribution that you make. We were having a really cool Zoom call as well. And by the time you're listening to this, we will have Zoomed a bunch of Patrons. And we will say that it was very fun, even though it hasn't happened yet. But yes, we also have a Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. So make sure you follow us there.
And also subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching this right now, subscribe to our YouTube. If you're watching this at a later date, subscribe to our YouTube.
Of course, the best thing ever you can do is to tell a friend about our show. That's a gorgeous little thing you can do. And Josh, you're currently doing your little thing with Game Boys.
Yes, speaking of YouTube, Game Boy is currently doing here we go. It's some breaking news. GB24, which is also All the Tech is Done by Kinetic Screen. Variety, news show, comedy. It's a lot of fun. It's all live. We do Wednesday fortnights. So check us out, youtube.com/GameBoysComedy. All the episodes to date are up there on YouTube as well.
Yeah, if you want to see Kinetic Screen really flex their muscles, check out Game Boys on every second Wednesday. It's unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
And as we I got a YouTube subscriber. And as we do every week, we sew a new patch into our quilted friendship. Josh, what patch did you sew into the quilt this week?
Thank you, Dion. My patch this week is me ordering an Italian-style takeaway tea, just a cup filled with olives. Christian, what patch did you sew this week?
Thank you, Josh. This week, I sewed into my patch you and Dion standing at the lights, sharing an umbrella made from 2 slices of toast bread. And Dion, what did you sew into your patch this week?
My patch this week is Christian asking a waitress to choose a starter for him, preferably olives served on a golf umbrella. Thank you very much for listening to Welcome to Patchwork this week. I've been Dion.
I've been Josh.
And I've been Christian.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks to everyone on YouTube Live. Thanks so much.